because tonight we're talking about conspiracy theories. Truth or tales. Now, you have conspiracy theories ranging in so many aspects, and first of all, it's defined by the picture that I posted with the event page. Conspiracy theorists, a derogatory term used to dismiss a critical thinker. See, we ourselves family have, we've adopted those terms that have been labeled, by our oppressors. You know what I'm saying? They call them conspiracy theories. They make movies about what's in the movie called conspiracy theory. I mean, but you have different things like that. What you have like the Pelican Brief, stuff like that. They make movies. They do all types of, just exploit all types of propaganda. That when it's like, so conspiracy theories become like a reality that is just people. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's just a crazy thought. Oh, that's not possible. Oh, that's fictional. And right before our eyes, this stuff is happening. I'm going to tell you, I got one, okay? Now, laugh as you may, but I'm serious. Sometimes if you just look at things, look at stuff. And I mean, if you have an understanding of just how these fools work, you know what I'm saying? First of all, they are evil. Evil. You understand? Anyone, the actions, I mean, things that are just done to people and around this world, in this country alone, you know what I'm saying, just is evil, and it's all about having power and control. And that's what it is, family, and let's get that mind state. And the thing is, they don't stop at anything to do so, and, I mean, strictly planning. See, they have critical thinkers. You don't call that conspiracy theory, do you know? They call that planning to kick our ass. That's what that's called. But see, in opposed to us and the oppressed, and especially Africans, uniting around and supporting critical thinkers, it's like, oh, they're conspiracy theorists, and, oh, y'all just, just paranoid, and it's when you watch too much TV. No, you watch too much TV. That is what that is. You watch too much TV, family, because this is real life. And what people understand, this is real life. For real, for real. And the things that are pulled and fooled upon our people, it's crazy. And when you tell them about it, them and y'all and them conspiracy theories, But see, what's talking back at you? That's that blindness, because they're fooled and they're controlled. And, and people, they don't get it, and they say, yeah, your mind is mentally slave. I ain't no slave. And yes, you are. And you're a slave to even think that you don't even recognize that you're a slave and not in control of your life, because if you're living your life based on, what others say you should have and what society say you should have and how society deems you as, a proper individual, then you are a slave, because that's what you're basing your life on, and therefore that disallows you from loving your brothers and your sisters because you're too busy in competition with them. That's having a slave mentality. But even knowing you can't tell people that. When the moment you want to try to tell people their history, where they come from, things of that nature, talk to people about their true essence. When you want to go on to do that, what do you get? The same thing you get. It's like a defensive mode, or I don't want to hear that, or people not really interested in. And then they even go there, even going back within our histories. I mean, just our beginnings and everything, that those are some sort of, you're trying to prove a point to make it seem like this. No, it's what it is. Things, again, leading to what's labeled conspiracy theories, and none of it's theoretical. This is what's happening, but, again, that's what we're here to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody talks about it, and not openly enough, because it's too much is allowed to be dismissed as conspiracy theory, and I find it very vital that those are the type of terms that we need to eradicate from our vocabulary, eradicate from, the minds of our people, because as long as they continue to apply things that they hear under these categories, using these terms, then the harder it is for them to really get an understanding of what's happening and how it happens. So we're going to talk about that. It's going to be fun, too, because I really want to go all out. And then I'm going to play some joint students, just hit it on the head with it, because, that's just how I do. And then have, some people chiming in with us, to share on that, and hoping these brothers on the line. I definitely know I see somebody's on the line who definitely definitely can holler at us about, the propaganda and all that, the brainwashing and things like that. And I thank you, sister, there. And as well, you guys, the chime in show, I'm going to go to a quick break, and we're going to come back. And then also when we chop it up, we're going to hear a clip from good brother Mortal Technique, and y'all know how he get down. You know what I'm saying? So all that's going to happen, and we're here at Daphne's Dose on Straight Up Real Talk Radio, family. So I just want to drop this real quick. This is Immortal Technique. Speak your mind. Just listen clearly, family. Just hit them. And I love engaging conversations. So now for sure I know I got my sister Veronica on the line and Brother Sid Swell and family. And Straight Up Real Talk, we open up the mics and we give a straight up discussion and open discussion, family, amongst us all. So come on in, my good sister, you first, and then come on in, Brother Sid, introduce yourself and get this party started, family.
Peace and blessings, family. This is Veronica calling out of Chicago. Peace, sister. Can you hear me?
Yes, sister, most definitely. Peace and blessings, Queen.
Peace and blessings, sister. You did this conspiracy theory. We seem like what they call it crazy MFers to crazy MFers. I think that's a term, right? Because it's so serious because I love indulging in information. I love to think outside the box. So what somebody might seem as strange, I take it like, okay, this could really be happening. And you talk about the government in your post, and it's like they done declared war on us. We looking at the signs and symptoms right now, but sister, what I really want to get into and really want to talk about, I know it's a tough topic, but religion and the propaganda of religion and fear, that relationship has got people stuck. The whole thing, and I don't know if anybody going to catch this, but the whole thing of we got to be good citizens when we getting effed by the government. They being bad and we being good. So, I mean, that thing right there to me is like off the top. I mean, we praying to this Jesus, this God that's supposed to be so good and so great. And I'm not knocking nobody's religion. I'm not even knocking religion. But at this point, I think I'm stepping into spirituality. I had to take off the religion because the religion is killing us. Because with the religion, we don't even understand who the frick the enemy is. We have lost sight of who the freaking enemy. The Bible say, love your enemy and do this, that, and the third. And it's, man, how could you worship? And I'm going to go here. And I'm sorry, family, but it's like, straight up talk.
Come on, Straight Up Real Talk Radio.
How could you serve the same freaking God that enslaved you? How on earth? Where they do that at? I mean, seriously, though. I mean, I know we might have some white brothers, some white sisters on here, but come on now. How could we, as black people, serve this white Jesus that don't look nothing like us and bow down to him and pray to him? If that's not white supremacy to its finest, I don't know what is, sis. And I am like totally at the point like, okay, we keep praying and praying and praying and nothing is happening. I mean, nothing out of how many years we've been praying to this God and haven't been saved yet? I know my mother said when she was little, they was waiting on Christ to come back. And we still waiting, really? So since I think we've been duped, bamboozled, tricked, and everything. I read this book, and I'm going to give it to you, sis. It's called The Slave Ship. It is a very good book. However, what it consists of is brought from the British Parliament. It consists of logs from the various slave vessels, commodity, the travels. And then they called them, they didn't call them commodities. They were like property logs or stuff like that, that was kept of the merchandise and stuff that was carried abroad. And one of the captains wrote in his log that his greatest difficulty on his passage was convincing the cargo of Jesus Christ. And that was, and one of the things also, and I think people get it confused that, you know what I'm saying, when we speak of, it's not about, you're not demeaning the spirituality, you're not demeaning God. What it is that what has been put before us is not what we are, especially when we know and are aware that we came from something else. And then, you know what I'm saying, and you hit it on the nose. So we were at this put before us, taken away from our true spirituality, our true connection with our higher being, and how our people, connected, and what made us such a spiritual person, which made us such a caring and giving people. And that is the type of people that we are. There are makeups genetically, You know what I'm saying? Both physically and in different other types of ways amongst races, and there are, and in cultures. And within our culture, that was one of them. Our spirituality was like one of our greatest things, and it led to so much. You know what I'm saying? And so you hit that one on the head. And I want to, Brother C, you want to chime in on that?
No, you know I do. Peace and blessings.
Yeah.
I'm calling from Tennessee, and yeah, you know what my honorable sister Veronica just said was like, you know, it's on the minds of a lot of people, in my humble opinion. You know, when we strive to understand the you know, religion is basically a conversation, even from a religious point of view. It's a conversation between God and humans, you know. Well, when we strive to understand that conversation and we get lost in the conversation because of 400 years of slavery, you know, and our inability to identify the truth, you know, and then we're taught that a real truth, let's say, let's just for a minute hypothetically say, you know, it's real, it's true, well, we're taught it from our enemies, like in the Book of Eli movie, kind of, you know, the bad people got the truth. Well, when bad people get the truth, see, reality is formed just by your belief in something. You believe something, it's going to be true, you know, and it's going to be true until you get to the real truth, you know. And so when we believe religion out of context, in the wrong place in the conversation, kind of, it don't make no sense. It drive people nuts and all that. But when you start to go back and you understand, you know, that possibly, you know, that we were, you know, maybe the Egyptians, let's say, and that in the judgment, you know, when you die, you rise in judgment. And the firstborn of Egypt died and rose in judgment. Well, he don't rise in judgment like he the Pharaoh. He rise in judgment with the accusation that was against ancient Egypt, because he has to judge his people. He has to judge himself. He got to see a reflection of the evil that he did so he can judge and be judged, like Jesus said. So within this reality and religious context, kind of, well, when he rises, he don't rise as a pharaoh, he rises as a slave. And he come up like, okay, these people been doing all this stuff to me, and he don't know who he is. He just rises in the afterlife, you know, walking the crossroads. And see, that's what, in my humble opinion, spirituality is really all about, how to transcend this life and walk into the next in the proper way. But it's like, when we strive to understand it from their point of view, see, their point of view, they didn't create this. They ain't got no religion. They ain't got no, excuse me, they don't have any, they didn't have a real deep, you know, spiritual, you know, foundation as far as I can look back. You know, what they learned from the Egyptians, and the Greeks took it, and you know, they don't have no real deep spiritual reality, so to speak, you know. So when they got a hold of a certain spiritual reality and truth, and they corrupted it, what they did was they started using that to build systems that would confuse and mess people up so that they could abuse those people's minds and start to. This entire society is built on our ignorance, you know, on our ignorance of the truth of who and what and how we really are. Their systems are built on that, you know. That's how everything that they got operating is put us at the bottom, keep us on the bottom. But they build reality in our mind with they television, with their images, with all that kind of stuff. But when we separate ourselves from that and we get in touch with the truth that we are, all of a sudden you start to see, yeah, well, if I want to overcome the creation of this reality, you know, because some people say, you know, this 7,000 or 6,000 year period is just, you know, it's a 6,000 year period where a certain somebody gets to be in power. And, you know, they say, well, that's this creation, you know, let there be light in this creation. Well, in this creation, in this judgment, in the God of Abraham's judgment, you overcome the judgment by showing mercy to your enemies. Well, on a spiritual level, I can see how that is true. And you can overcome a certain reality and get back to a certain place on a real deep spiritual level, you know. But within this context, on this level of reality and the physical, where we got to work in all this in their systems, they've learned how to exploit us within that truth and how to use us within that truth to create a truth where, yeah, they rich, they on top, they the person, you know. But as soon as we identify the truth and we start to see who we are, and that, in the Bible, it's a lot of truth in there. And if you look at it from the right perspective, and see yourself as something divine and not that white dude on the wall, it's like, and I'm like, hey, white people can see God as them in a reflection of themselves. I ain't mad at that. It's just that for me as a black man, I need to relate to something that looks more like me, if I want to identify as a truth. Because 1 equals 1 is an identity. Well, I want to identify with the Almighty in me, the truth in me, so I have to see a reflection of myself in the truth. So when I see, that the truth says in the place where they were told they're not my people, there they shall be called the sons and daughters of God, when it says the Lord of hosts shall say, blessed be my people, Egypt, It's like when I start hearing those things in the Bible, in that conversation with the Almighty, it's like, well, then it starts to push me in a different direction. I start to understand things on another level. Understanding how we're in a duality, so to speak, a spiritual reality and a physical reality. In that duality, they're both going on at the same time. In that duality, what we're doing is sometimes people are striving in the physical to fight on a spiritual level. And it's like, that works sometimes, but sometimes somebody come up with a gun, it pop them, But when you fight properly on the physical level, when you understand, I'm in a capitalist system that enslaves people and uses words to trick people and say, yeah, the 14th Amendment it abolished slavery, when it never did that. It just changed it. And now they got a prison industrial complex, and they got prisons all over the place with slaves, and they trying to export it and globalize it now. Well, I got to fight down here on a different level, I got it in a different way, I have to use different tactics on this level to combat that situation. But because I am a spiritual being and I understand the power of love, I'm going to strive to fight in a certain kind of way, a way that will balance everything for everybody, because I do understand, well, your evil is about to end. It can't last much longer. I understand the crossroads between life and death and rebirth and all that. Jesus even talked about you got to be born again to see the kingdom, I understand these realities. I understand that some people see it. Well, that's just the way I understand it. I'll just put it like that. And so for me, when I fight in this world, what I do is, I'll combat you on a physical level, but when it comes to the spiritual truths, I understand how showing mercy cleanses my soul and gets certain spirits up off me, and forgiving and things like that. It gets certain spirits off me. Now, you bring your butt over here and you want to do the same. I'm not on that turn of the cheek level yet. I'm not that good yet. It's like,
now, brother,
I forgive you, but
and then this, brother,
back,
quick question.
Yeah.
Quick question. Now that you just said that, I think that's kind of what Sister Veronica was getting to. Like you just said, not being about that turn the cheek. Like things like that being like really put forth. You know what I'm saying? To pacify. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
So. Like, what do you think about that? Like, as far as, like, using turn the other cheek and things like that.
Turning the other cheek is supposed to be, somebody hit you on this side, I guess, you're supposed to say, okay, hey, and they hit you again. Well, see, I'm not good with that one. Me and Jesus are still, he's teaching me in that word, because I'm still like, you put your hands on me. I was taught that from a child. I will put my hands, my mind, my spirit, everything that I got on you, And so it's like, as far as forgiving, when I can forgive people if they genuinely want forgiveness, but when you attack me, it's like, I don't want you to attack me no more, so I'm going to stop that. I'm going to end that attack, We have to end those. So I'm still working on that. We'd have to talk to Big Brother Hess about that one. He got more love, but I'm still working on that turn the other cheek one, It's like, I've all my life since I was 3 years old. You touch me, I touch you, And so it's like,
it's like a walk. When we're gonna go, bro, we're gonna go, and we're gonna bring into this conversation a good brother who's gonna come in and share some really deepness with us. My brother, good brother Orlando, are you on the line with us, brother? Come on in, tell everybody your name, where you're calling from.
Hey, everybody, how y'all doing, man? Hey, Dale, how you doing?
Doing love, brother, doing love. Come on in. I see we got some flame in the house.
Yeah, man. My name is Orlando Henry, also known as Lando Magic. I am an urban translator for United in Peace. I also help co-found and build One Family, One Community with Sister Nucha, along with Brother Hest. I'm also a founding father, founding member of the Pops movement as well. Man, I ain't finna sit up here and just name all the stuff I can do, because then everybody feel like I'm just praising myself. But, when it all boils down to, I also own my own internet radio station called Flame On Radio. We have 6 stations. We vary from hip-hop to gospel, and we also got a kids station and stuff like that, too. So, when your kids and stuff, you got little kids, you want them to catch story time or catch some of them old Sesame Street songs that made you learn and jump around and dance when you was a kid. Hey, tune in to Flame On Radio Kids, and, you got something for the kids, got something for everybody. So, you know what I'm saying? Man, I'm calling from Birmingham, Alabama, man. Born and raised here in the South. I have had the chance to, venture outside of Alabama. I've been to Atlanta. I've been to Detroit, Michigan. I've been to Chicago. I've been to Colorado. I've been to Texas and different places and stuff like that. So, I pay a lot of attention and I observe a lot of things that I see and that I realize. My life, the life that I come from, I was not always an honest person. I was not always a righteous person. I was not always a positive person. You know what I'm saying? I come from the streets just like a lot of us that's on this phone and a lot of people that's listening in. I come from the streets too. Even though I had both of my parents in the same house, that still didn't stop me from venturing out and wandering out and getting involved in the streets and, being used and programmed, you know what I'm saying, as an agent to be detrimental to your own people, because, we don't know no better, because when we look on TV and, you listen to the music and everything that you see, is painting images of us, you know what I'm saying, doing such atrocious natures to one another, that a lot of us start being like what they say, art imitates life, and we start imitating the things that we see and we think, and we actually make it a reality. You know what I'm saying? Well, not make it a reality, we make it an actuality, because there's a difference between a reality and actuality. A reality can be anything that is being projected into your eyes and your visual that will affect your psychological. You see what I'm saying? That's a reality that just like, for instance, like I was pointing out to a friend of mine the other day, like reality TV. Now, if you think about reality TV, now, okay, we're gonna take, for instance, what's that T.I. got a show, all right? Family Hustle, right? They film inside his house and things like this. Now, if this was a real reality, or better yet, actuality show, how come you don't ever see T.I. having to discipline his kids? How come you don't ever see, arguments, disagreements, and stuff like that, and everything like that? Because that's not, that's actuality of what goes on in the home. But what they present on camera and what they show to us through our homes is a reality that they want to present to us, that's what they see, or that's what we see, and that's what they do. Just like with a lot of reality TV shows and things like that. A lot of people don't understand and know, but by me working and doing what I do with Flame On Radio, and I get a chance to talk to a lot of these Hollywood executive type people and actors and actresses and stuff like that. I also have a friend of mine. He is an actor, and you know what I'm saying, he's an actor, a model, he raps and all this stuff too. And I know for a fact, I had a friend of mine pointed him out, on the reality TV show where he was playing a role of a dude, trying to get the love of a chick. You know what I'm saying? I think it was it was one of them Bad Girl Club love games. It was one of them. And I know that he's an actor. You see what I'm saying? I know he's an actor because I know him personally. He came to my house. We sat down and we listened to music. We had interviews, and then I knew him before he started acting because he went to West End High School and stuff, and I used to hang out in the West End in Birmingham. You know what I'm saying?
So what you're saying, bro, is that the brother, excuse me, sorry for interrupting, but before you move past that, what you're saying, so that the brother, so on this show, he was actually acting, so he wasn't there actually looking for love. They hired them and put them in place to create this quote-unquote reality TV.
The quote-unquote, yeah, exactly. You see what I'm saying? And he didn't even have to tell me. When I seen him on there, I hit him. You know what I'm saying? I said, hey, fam, I just seen you on Love Game. He like, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying, my agent hooked me up and blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop. When he said that to me, and I know him being my homeboy, him being a partner of mine, a friend of mine, you know what I'm saying, before we started working with each other on the music tip and stuff like that, then I knew that he blew up in the modeling and things like that and stuff like that. But when he hit me and I told him, I'm like, yo, you on here? And he told me, yeah, when he told me that, I already knew what time it was. So I'm like, okay, I already know what's up, for real. But the images that they go ahead.
If they portray when you like are sharing this, you know what I'm saying. When you're sharing this with people and trying to bless people with that knowledge or just information, to go and see for themselves. You know what I'm saying. Do you get hit with that? Oh, those are just conspiracy theories and the brainwashing and all that stuff. Or that's just labeled as conspiracy theory. Have you yourself been labeled as a conspiracy theorist? With bringing out the truth.
Yeah.
That's generally what it is.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, they love to see the thing is people love to call people like us conspiracy theorists, but the thing is, it's a difference between being a conspiracy theorist and a truth seeker and exposer. You see what I'm saying? Just think about the term of a conspiracy. To conspire, that means you got to sit up and think of something, and you just the thought of doing something. That's a conspiracy. You don't have to have no actual proof. You don't have to have, you know what I'm saying? This could just be a straight assumption, and you build up a theory on it. What we do, we ain't building up no theories, because for the simple fact is, we seek the truth. So when we see it, we expose it. And by us exposing such major truth of a large variety of people who have been sleepwalking or been programmed to try to ignore it, they look at us like we crazy and call us conspiracy theorists until everything that we say comes to pass and it comes to truth. And all of us say, oh, we prophets, and oh, we this and oh, we that. It ain't that. It's just our minds are open. We realize and we see what time it is and know what it is. So we going to seek the truth and we going to expose the truth because we tired. We don't want to live in lies. We don't want our kids to be repeating these lies that's being showed to us and sold to us. You see what I'm saying? We don't want this, so that's why we find it out and we point it out. But they'll call us conspiracy theorists, but you know what I'm saying, trying to say that we're basing our theories or our thoughts on things that are not true, but everything that we put out there, it is true. It has facts. It has logic. You see what I'm saying? It ain't nothing that just came out of thin air. There's actual proof of this going on, but what they try to do, they try to call people like us conspiracy theorists to try to throw it off and make us look like we're crazy or, we ain't got them all or, or we just foolish and stuff like that. But the real definition of a conspiracy theorist is you don't have to have no proof. You don't have to have no facts. You don't have to have no knowledge. This just a plain assumption just out of date, and then you just go with it. That's not what we do. That's not what we're on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they called me a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, they call you a conspiracy theorist, but we're not conspiracy theorists. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm doing, I'm enlightening the people and giving them the true definition on what we are and who we are. We are truth seekers and exposers. That's who we are. That's what we do because that's the way it's supposed to be, because everything that has been taught to us and everything that has been shown us has been lies. Anything that's been institutionalized especially institutionalized educational systems. If you go back and you look at everything that they taught us, you know what I'm saying, it's been lies. They tell you that your people came over here, the only time that they came over here was on the slave ship. That's a lie. You see what I'm saying? When they talk about when they talk about America, Mesoamerica, Ancient America, Middle America, they get to talking about the Olmecs and all, and you look at those stonehead statues, because that's one thing that the Africans, no matter wherever the African went, they left an image of themselves for the people to remember who we are and where you come from. And it don't matter if it's in Africa, Asia, India, the Americas, all here we have left our mark, whether it was an image or some type of structure that let you know that the African man and the African woman was here. So, you know what I'm saying, with that being with that being said, you know what I'm saying, with that being said and that being explained, you see, we have to come to the realization and the understanding that, you know what I'm saying, we especially as people of color, African Americans, African, it don't matter if you call yourself Latino, Native American, Aboriginal American, because believe it or not, we all the same. And it's even in the books that they put it out there for us when they call themselves educators. When Columbus and them came over here and stole the land, because the Moors had already showed them the land over here in the 1480s, but once the Moors were defeated and chased out of Spain and out of southern Europe and things like that, that began the age of signaling in the age of white supremacy. That's when the Europeans wind up taking over the slave trade that the lighter skinned Arabs had started up when they was, you know what I'm saying, setting up the slave trade. You see, that's one thing that we have to understand and learn and realize, that it is so much stuff that's out there that we don't know, and it is not a conspiracy theory. There ain't none of that, because it's facts. It's put down. It's been written. A lot of it might have been discredited by the educational institution, but at the same time, you have to understand the reason why the educational institution was set up the way it was. It was set up to keep us at the bottom and you know what I'm saying, keep people of color at the bottom and white people at the top. And that's not being racist. That's just telling it like it is, because if you read the Constitution, it tells you the same thing. You see what I'm saying? It says the same thing. So how is that a conspiracy and how is that theory when that's fact and that's proof? You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's just like a lot of people like to say, when we get to talking about the conditions of what was done to us in slavery and things like that, the Willie Lynch syndrome. People love to talk about, Willie Lynch ain't real, it wasn't real, it ain't. But the thing is, okay, my thing is this: if the letter wasn't real, how come we see the effects of it and we still suffer the effects of it today? Just like it was predicted just like it was written and predicted in that letter, how come it's still effective for today if it wasn't real? So the method and the psychological divide and conquer concept has always been of, you know what I'm saying, there's always been a thing of Greece and Rome tactic. That's one of the things that they have always been masters of. They always been able to find out who would be the weaker ones to give in their bribe or whatever, get them to sell. I mean, and it has been going on for, you know what I'm saying, for really 2,000 years, and we've been really suffering the major effects of it for the last 400. Well, they say 400, I say 506 7 years. That's what I say. But you know, that's, you know, to each his own and everything like that. But we have to really understand and learn that the things that's been put out, just like how I pointed out with my pal who wound up being on a reality TV show, and I know he's a actor and a model and a rapper. I know he's an actor, and they had him on a show called Love Game. So, you know, he wasn't looking for no love for real. His agent got him on to help get him some money. You see what I'm saying? But what they
and always cookery.
Yeah, but what they and the thing that but the thing is what they have what the average person sees, they see different. They think that's reality. They think them dudes on there really after them girls on there after them. They be thinking like a lot of that stuff that go on in love and hip hop and all that stuff. They think all that's just, you know, like it's for real. No, man.
I mean, does that make you cry? Am I the only person who that just like really makes just cries? That people actually do believe this stuff, and I mean, get all inspired and entangled in it. It has me It sends me all the way off because I be wanting to cry. Like, are you serious? Is this what my people and this is how I be thinking? I want to we're going to go into a break real quick. When we come back, but first I want to acknowledge and give out so much love to you, Brother Orlando, my invited guest, my dear Brother C from Pops Limit. I thank you so much, dear brother, for joining us, and as well as your brother Rob Love of the mighty Guerrilla Republic. And I just want to thank you, brothers, for, coming on today to share with us and give y'all much love for that. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to throw this out here. This is a conspiracy theory. Played that track earlier, a couple of minutes before I start the show, loud and clear. Now, I don't know if this is some type of conspiracy theory or not, but of course we know that they will manipulate the media, especially that of free speech, and this is straight up Real Talk Radio family, and that is free speech. And I'm going to open back the lines up, and we're going to bring in our brother Rob Love. And before we do, I definitely just want to say that, family, we're going to go in, and once we bring brother in, and we're going to talk about a little bit on, have him talk on conspiracy theory, and as well as Brother C, and then we're going to go to the lines to Brother Flame and Brother Mike X, and have those brothers share with us as well. Brother Rob Love, come on in. Tell everybody who you are, where you're calling from, brother.
Greetings, love is love, everybody. It's Rob Love, Guerrilla Republic. Call it out of the dirty South, New Atlanta. Down here getting some things together, but always glad to be on with you, sister. Seeing how you always promoting that righteousness and that real, So anytime I'm obliged to be on your radio show and just, help the world know what the real is.
That's what's happening. It's an honor to have you, brother, all day. You guys are obviously letting the world know what the real is. Come on in. Tell us about Guerrilla Republic, how y'all are getting down in more countries than I probably can just remember, so I'll let you go ahead and handle that.
Well, it's been a 12-year. We've been in existence for 12 years. We started out in 2003 as an apparel line with a message. We got tired of just wearing stuff that didn't mean nothing, spending money on stuff that really didn't mean nothing. So got together and came up with Guerrilla Republic, which stems from the first successful slave revolt in Haiti in 1794. And the reason we choose 1794 and not 1804, because we do know 1804 is the independence. But 1794 marked when the rebellion took the island by force. It wasn't granted to them after, like in 1804, when the powers that be saw that they couldn't get the island back, they gave it up and basically did a treaty to where no European nations would help out Haiti from that point forward. And this is one of the reasons why you see Haiti is just like decimated right now, because the European nations involved with trying to overtake Haiti basically put a pact together and was like, we're not going to give them no aid, thinking that these people would probably just die off, and we didn't. You know what I'm saying? And you got to, like I said, you got to realize that Haiti at that time was a slave-breaking island. This wasn't a slave island. This is where you sent your most rebellious slaves to be broken, and you paid good money to send them there. You know what I'm saying? Hoping that if they came back to the States, you weren't going to have a problem out of this slave no more. So if you figure you got 500,000 of the most rebellious, and I don't like to use the word slaves because they wasn't slaves. You know what I'm saying? A slave, to me, a slave is what's the word I'm looking for? Well, you have to agree to it. It's voluntary. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You agree to be a slave, or you agree to run with your life and see if you can get away or die. So Most slaves, they were beat into submission, and a lot of them they become slaves out of fear, and then after the second, third generation, it's just what it is. And also with Guerrilla Republic, we understand that our culture of hip-hop is very powerful. We understand that the culture can give us everything we need to reach our children and turn them around, because they use the very culture to basically get our children to where they are now. They manipulated the knowledge. We went from knowledge to niggas in 30 years. They've used the whole culture to basically sell goods and European goods and services for free, because at this point that's what hip hop is. It is a platform for goods and services for America and any other country abroad. And we pretty much are the props inside these videos when we pushing these Benzes and we showing all these liquor, these alcohol beverages. We the props in the video. So with Guerrilla Republic, we decided that we wanted to take a stance against that, because we didn't want them to play the culture out like they played jazz out. Like they played rock and roll out. We're going to fight for this culture because, again, like I say, the culture can give us everything we need. Like it's rhyming. Words are all powerful. And that's why hip-hop is so powerful. When you were taught as a child to remember things, you did it in rhyme form. When you tell the children, pick it up, now it's time to do it. We did everything in a rhyme form. When they cast spells, it's in rhyme form, because you got to understand the vibration and the repetitive nature of things is the psychosis that'll get you to fall into hypnosis. So now you see the youngsters walking around and they quoting all these satanic lyrics for lack of a better word, and you see how these lyrics possess them. You can see these youngsters sitting on the corner with their headphones on, and they acting out as if they are the person in this video or on the song, and you can see them actually being possessed by the music. Now, when I was coming up, we was possessed by the music too, but fortunately the music was Rakim. Fortunately the music was Public Enemy. Fortunately the music was KRS-One. You know what I'm saying? And it gave us reason to want to know more. Like I put a quote out today. I said that Christianity had been around for 2,000 years, and hip hop only been around for 40 years, and in that 40-year time, it has managed to correct 2,000 years of lies in history. It was hip-hop that made us want to go pick up books, because what we know through hip-hop, we weren't getting in school. So that, in a nutshell, is what Guerrilla Republic about. We are preservationists of the culture, and we go out of our way to basically push underground hip-hop artists that are very serious about their culture. We really promote inspiration, motivation, do-for-self attitude. Never look outside yourself to do what you need to be done. Speak what you want into existence. Don't get away from the word try, because try is to accept the fact that whatever you want to do won't happen, or if there's a possibility that it won't happen. So instead of trying to do something, do it. Speak it into existence. Speak as if it's already done, and watch how the universe will reward you for it. Hello?
I'm sorry, I'm just so got my phone muted. I'm just talking. He's what I just Ellie. Look, I'm just talking. Phone on mute. I'm going. Came straight in.
I thought I got cut off for a minute. I was like, man, I said all that, and nobody heard it.
We heard that.
Oh, no, brother, we heard you loud and clear. One of the things you definitely said in regards to, hip-hop and how the shape and it forms a lot of us. And that's a definite, and that's why I love y'all move that. We knowing that our revolution will be brought through hip-hop, and for those not understanding, because it is the younger generation who will lead us into the change that we have to go. Us old heads, all we can do is serve as an example and teach. But it is our younger generations who we will be hearing from in a little bit as well to come in, and when Brother Flame comes in and share, that they'll be the ones that's going to be leading this up family, and they are that hip-hop generation. And man, that's what I learned about, like the Real Republic, Brother Lando's Flame on Radio, you guys, keeping alive what, real stuff and keeping alive what's garnered and what's needed despite what the status quo put out there, because they call every move we make, it's all conspiracy theory. Anything, family, that opposes U.S. government, imperialism, capitalism, anything that is labeled as conspiracy theory, and, you even get our people around us calling us crazy. Sister Veronica said it earlier. I'm going to have to ask you, sister, to say that again about the crazy, calling the crazy, looking at us as crazy. Well, I have sister say it again in a moment. Just quickly, Sister Veronica, can you say that for me again, how you said that, the crazy, looking at the crazy is crazy?
I'm trying to think, peace and blessings, sister. I'm trying to think how he said it. I saw this quote somewhere, but I think he said something like, crazy, excuse my French, crazy motherfuckers look like crazy motherfuckers to crazy motherfuckers. I think that's the way it said.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they bring this on, and so, family, we're going to go in deep in here because I'm not crazy, and I know neither of you are, and we all sensible, and those of you listening that are on the line, man, understand that what we're bringing here, and it's just fact of why, the main thing is why are people labeled conspiracy theorists, and understand why that terminology was placed and started being used again, as I stated, in movies and everything else, to just as a sickness and to throw our people off. And before we go again, family, and we will be bringing out others. I have my brother also finally on the line, and so I want to bring him in, family, so that I will be getting to the rest of you callers. That my brother Black, are you with us here tonight? And Daphne's still dear brother. Peace, Brother Black. Okay, well, when we get Brother Black on the line, we'll be back to him. So what we're going to do is go back to the line. In fact, I guess then I'll dwell now on the hip-hop, and then we'll go back to Brother Black on the hip-hop and just inducing the... Oh, there you go. Okay. So
yeah, I'm right
hold
here,
that thought, family, on the hip-hop, because... Okay, brother, I'm going to finish this sentence right quick. I'm so sorry. I just want to just let Brother Mike X know that I would like him to come in and share with Brother Rob on the question of the hip-hop, and because you've spoken on that as well, brother, how it has shaped us. So we have Brother Black now, family. Come on in, brother. Tell everybody your name and everything, and share with us some conspiracy theories, brother.
This is brother with the brother Black. I'm from Georgia, down here in Atlanta. I'm in the studio with Brother S. I came back in the studio. When I came back in, I came in a little late. I got caught up in some things, and I didn't catch really the main topic or the main idea of what you was referring to in terms of conspiracy. I didn't know if you were talking about Watergate scandals or government conspiracy. I didn't even know if you were talking about the UFO. I came in kind of late. You have to pardon me, but I just want you to pull me up to speed on some things.
Well, basically, brother, what we're addressing is the labeling of conspiracy theorists and the labeling of individuals who expose, individuals who you know what I'm saying, who bring truth, individuals who bring knowledge, and individuals who actually just basically through simple logic, you know what I'm saying, put forth to our people what's happening. And as stated before, you know what I'm saying, anything that does that, that's anti-government, anti-anything else, is labeled as conspiracy theory, and us as conspiracy theorists, as though, you know what I'm saying, these are things Brother Lando stated earlier, because he broke it down into that false, you know, that conspiracy theory when people just, you know, coming up with some false ideas and stuff, but then we have all this, you know, truth and fact and things of history and things that happen that, you know, set the stage for white supremacy, which, you know, the other callers have, you know, everybody done laid down. So that's basically where we at is you know, conspiracy theory being just bullshit pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And that labeling just being that, and why they label it that, you know, and why the truth is being hidden. So that's pretty much, I guess, in the great summation, what we're just talking about. You know what I'm saying? We're not paranoid. It's just that this is what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it. Did I do that well? I kind of went on, huh?
You broke it down proper, though. You broke it down proper.
was it. That was the business. That was the business. I can say a few words in regards to conspiracy and those who've been referred to as conspiracy theories. Sometimes theories turn out to be lies, but that doesn't necessarily that it means that the theorist is actually a liar. And a lot of times when certain aspects of a theory may be proven, incorrect or out of place or completely true, some people will use friendly media in particular, to kind of lambaste the theorist or the author of that particular piece. They try to vilify them just because of a certain part, just to make him look suspect. And it's easy to take what one person has said in a theory and kind of turn it back and try, kind of shoots back at a person. They take those little small sound bites or them little clippings from a person and make that person sound absolutely ridiculous. And if I can make one part of your theory suspect, then that kind of kills everything else you say altogether. Mm-hmm. I can take a very small clip from a person like Jesus Christ. When Jesus Christ said that, if you think that I come to bring peace into the world, nay, a sword. I come to separate Father. I turn the Father against the Son, Son against the Father. Now, if I took that little small clip from the Bible, from what Jesus said, I can make Jesus look like a complete terrorist. I can make him look like an absolute fool if I wanted to. And some people, they actually aim at small things that may not necessarily be true in a particular story, like what Brother Snowden had exposed about government and America's what they call it, intelligence, spying on her allies and whatnot, and all that proved true. All that proved true. And they tried to call him a theorist, but the truth was everything that he said was absolutely true. But they're going to try to find something about the person or something that he said to try to vilify that person, to lambaste that person to the point where everything you say it holds absolutely no credit. There are many blacks, Hispanics, even whites who have came to the forefront with what they have as based on what they think is true, and they share that with people. But for those who had special interest in the information that was being exposed, they use friendly media if they can, or they'll go to whatever extent that they can to make that person look like a psychopath, or they'll try to, he's a Muslim radical or something like this here. They'll do whatever they can do in order to make that person look absolutely ridiculous. I like what that brother was saying earlier about the little hip-hop, how hip-hop and how little young brothers is up under that spell or being possessed by hip-hop. I really dug that. I was really feeling that because I see a lot of that where I'm at right now. I see a lot of these young brothers up under that spell of I'm that real gangster dude. I can do whatever I want to do and ain't nobody going to tell me nothing, And I believe there's a conspiracy behind that because the media, the distribution don't allow more of the positive music to go out before they allow some of the negative music to go out. They allow Ricky Rose to make all the records in the world, but people like Common won't get as many records spent as somebody like Lil Wayne or Lil Webby, someone who's telling all the girls to suck my, you know what I mean, or get somebody like Drew to say something that my girl got a girlfriend, and now all the little girls want to be little lesbians now. And so while other people like Dead Prayers or Hussein, brothers like this here, who has something more positive to say, there's a conspiracy against those type of people to put those kind of lyrics out who's telling the sisters that you're beautiful, stand proud, telling the brothers that you're not my enemy, I'm not your enemy, guns down. You feel what I'm saying? But they don't want to put that out there. That's just a conspiracy thing going on. And I give bro big props, man, for that point that he was actually making. I didn't catch his name. I kind of came in while he was actually talking. But Brother King was some key. I hope I said something that actually touched your point in terms of conspiracy, because it, when it comes down to conspiracy that's, wrapped around blacks in particular, we have a lot to actually weave through. We have to actually even address some of our theories to see where they get their theories from, and not even wait for somebody else to discredit what they're talking about. We need to find out what they're saying, is it true or not. You know what I mean? So it's a lot.
No, I'm sorry, brother, because you hit on that one. I'm for it. You hit that one on the nose, Brother Black. We can't wait for the other side to discredit. We have to look into our own to make sure that for proper leadership. And you spoke on Edward Snowden and the NSA, and I wanted to add Chelsea Manning to that as well. So that's what's going to lead me through. What I want to open up, to everybody. Let's talk about one of the COINTELPRO. When it comes to the Black Liberation Movement, and that's where we get a lot of hits at when we talk about COINTELPRO and a lot of things that people just like, oh no, that ain't real. And really, there are people who think that this is not true, that there is not, that COINTELPRO was not existent in the manner that it was existent, even though COINTELPRO has released, and reports and things released on their activities and things. And so it's like, but again, it was stated on a Pops Movement show last night with the Queen of Brother Seiko in Odinga, Queen Dekri, I hope I'm saying her name correct. But it was a statement that she and Brother Hess were discussing how the movies that are made. And, Brother Hess began to talk about the movies like, you got the Kingpin movies and the, the drug lord movies and the crime balls, and they show this in even Gangland and just all that type of stuff, but not any type of movies that, represent freedom fighters, you know what I'm saying? Where's the movie on Brother Mumia? Where's the movie on Brother Odingo? You know what I'm saying? And the different types, you know what I'm saying, that they put forth. These actions, because me seeing it as, these actions that people don't believe that the government actually planned to, they did, and they infiltrated these movements. They targeted these movements. They targeted anyone from all that we know, Chairman Fred Hampton Sr., Chairman Larry Hoover, Chief Malik, you know what I'm saying? All these individuals who were targeted under these directives because of what they were bringing to the people, the collectiveness that, brought to the people, their ability to bring the people together under our collective government, you know what I'm saying, by us in this way. And a lot of these brothers being gone a long time, and it's really not like everything was getting enforced with them brothers, but what our people didn't see within these brothers' visions, the government saw, the people saw, they saw these brothers' visions, and so they took the steps to interrupt these visions. And we don't. So, and it's just so hard how that people really dismiss this. And here comes, that's really where within the black communities, African communities, that conspiracy theory is applied and those labels are given. So I want to address into there. I want to and we're all here, but when we go into that in just a second, and that's why I wanted to bring that there and open that up. But first, we're going to go to the line to Brother Mike X, and as far as that role, because that's still part of the same thing that Brother Rob just spoke of a second ago in regards to the mission of Guerrilla Republic, and because of what has happened to hip hop as well. And Brother Mike X, I've heard you share before on as Brother Rob did, how hip hop back then when we were that younger generation, how it applied and influenced us, and then the changes that happened. So if you want to come on in, brother, please just and show us on that and tell everybody who you are and where you're calling from.
Peace and blessings. Do you hear me, sir?
Peace and blessings. I hear you, brother, loud and clear.
Oh, that's what's up. I didn't hear that funny bell go off, so I didn't know.
Your mic's been live. Everybody mic is live.
I'm glad that I had my phone on mute. Family, I'm definitely enjoying the show, and it's very encouraging. It's very encouraging to be listening to what I'm hearing. A few things, the people who are against, who will try to poo-poo the whole conspiracy, the reality of conspiracies, mainly, it's going to be the powers that be that want to maintain hegemony and ultimate control, over this society, from the neighborhoods to the cities to the states, to the countries to the world, So they're definitely going to do all that they can to strive to make anyone who even speaks of, there being a conspiracy, like you said, like many of the callers said, to make them seem like they're crazy. And what's even more crazy is, and then you have the masses who have been trained through the mainstream media and the public school education and all of the sources of manipulating perspectives and understandings and amongst the people. They are going to frown upon conspiracy theories as well, because the conspiracy is to keep the people ignorant and accepting of a lower lot in life, of dependency, apathy, mediocrity, and irresponsibility. So it's going to be many members of our own people who are striving to awaken and striving to call them into a state of responsibility, accepting truth in a state of responsibility to help in their own resurrection. Many of them are going to be the ones who are parroting what the mainstream media speaks about and say, and oppose those who are striving to bring truth and call them crazy and, and all of those types of things. So, truth is the antidote. Truth is the antidote. And I heard one of the family members speaking about truth seekers, and that is something that has to be talked about, more and more and more today. We need truth seekers. We don't necessarily, I don't really want to say this, but I do want to say it. We don't need dogmatic, narrow-minded, rooted points of view, from people who are in different, religious backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, or even organizational backgrounds who, look at things from one perspective and try to hold everybody account to, their particular way of looking at things and doing things, while, those organizational perspectives or religious perspectives sometimes are great because it may have helped get those particular people out of being, deaf, dumb, and blind and accepting of the conspiracies. It's good to get them out of that, but it can't just stop at looking at things from just one narrow-minded perspective. So we need truth seekers, people who are always going to be constantly striving to add on to their understanding, of the world, the universe, of governmental systems, of cultural systems, of organizational systems, of spirituality, and all of these things. We need to be bringing the full measure of truth to bear on our position in this world, and only someone who is open-minded enough to be a truth seeker. Those are the ones who are going to be the most valuable, and that's what we want to make out of our people. So what highlighted that most to me when I heard the truth seeker, because that's what I call myself, and then the other thing, when the brother was going in talking about the relevancy of hip-hop and how it used to be, my heart was jumping for joy because I never met that family member before. But he was speaking word for word my testimony, about hip-hop and what it was and how it saved, generations of us back in the late 80s and early 90s. He was saying it word for word. Rakim Allah, KRS-One, Public Enemy, Brand Nubians, Tragedy the Intelligent Hoodlum, Paris, what I mean, from out west, the Gorilla, what I mean, Black Gorilla of hip-hop. Like, all of these people, they saved many a life, and mine is one of them. I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for hip-hop and the way it was used by those particular artists. So last thing I want to say, because I don't want to take up all your time, the mainstream media, the public school educational forum, kindergarten, public school, middle school, high school, and even, the college, system. They are not going to allow their, they're not going to allow their apparatus, willingly allow it to be used to awaken our people. Gone is that day, when they're going to stick a mic and give free run to their mainstream apparatus and beam it around the world on satellites and all of that type of stuff, where they would stick a mic in, front of someone the caliber of a Malcolm X, someone the caliber of a Huey Newton or a H. Rap Brown or, even a Dr. Joy DeGruy or our sister, the new Jim Crow, Michelle Alexander, or Sister Daphne Jackson or Brother Hess, you know what I mean, or Brother Charles or Sister Veronica. They're not going to give access to their mainstream apparatus today like they did yesterday. They learned their lesson. So they're going to use their mainstream. They're going to use their public school education. They're going to use that to continue to strive to keep the people ignorant, because they know that when there's ignorance, those who have the knowledge are always going to be in control. So we have to, help our people to step into the role in their own lives and teach them how to become truth seekers. You know what I mean? And help them to understand how important that is, so that they can begin to see, through the eyes of, of themselves, so they can see what's necessary to perpetuate their own lives and to join on to the great and mighty efforts, that are being spoken about on this line. So I hope I haven't spoken too long, but like I said, I'm definitely grateful to hear what I've been hearing and to be given the opportunity to add on to what the family is speaking about.
Ooh, peace, bro. That's most definitely. And I don't, well, you did, because that's what we're here for, and that's what it's about. I call the bottom line trickery and how we've just been misguided, at our own preachers, and the fact of doing something about it in truth seekers. And I dig that. Was that you, Brother Orlando, who stated that, truth seekers?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Yeah, when you were speaking on conspiracy theories, and I love that. And family, that's what we are. Not only truth seekers, truth displayers, you know what I'm saying? Because it's our duty. See, and that's the thing that we don't realize. It's our duty. You're not doing nothing special. There's nothing special we doing. That's our duty. I mean, really? Because if you're not doing that, you're not doing nothing with it. And I'm sorry, that's maybe Daphne's opinion, of course. But, yeah, that's how I feel about it. If you're not trying to restore your people and get rid of this garbage, then your life is pretty much just meaningless. Because that means you're settling for, and you're cheerleading, you're cheerleading the you know what I'm saying, the degradation of my people. You're cheerleading. If you're not saying nothing about it or going against it, you're cheerleading it. And there's so many things that's been used. And again, we want to talk about this COINTELPRO and then these hits on these movements, and actually how, some are still taking it to this day, and with understanding that, it's just not stuff that happened to, freedom fighters back in, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It continued on, and it still continues on, and call that one a Daphne conspiracy theories if you want to, family, but, because they want to say, oh, well, COINTELPRO doesn't exist anymore. A lie? That's a lie.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I know it's a lie. Thank you. I know everybody agree with me on that. But I want to, well, we got to kick this off. I want to talk about COINTELPRO. Brother Charles, Brother C. Now, I know you know what's happening with COINTELPRO, and you know what I'm saying, and your take on that. And then after Brother C, I want to, go back to Brother Orlando and Brother Rob, and show a family we're going like that. And Brother Flame, hang tight with me. I will be bringing it into a young person's perspective. But Brother C, there. Brother C, COINTELPRO.
COINTELPRO, here we go. It's like, back in the 60s when we had all those disruptions those uprisings within the black community, what started happening was, there's the other side of the issue. And the other side of the issue, they started coming up with ways to disrupt that movement. But then when that movement, those civil rights movements turned into black power movements, and that movement really started taking off, and then you had the spilling over into the young white community, and they started protesting the war. It was like the powers that be felt like, hey, we losing control of this, And so when they felt like they were losing control, they got together, and they came up with long-range plans on how to deal with that situation effectively, And it's like, because we don't understand, that they think in 100-year, they come up with 100-year plans, They don't sit there and be like, well, next week I think we should do this. And if they like, no, what we going to do is, because we got all this money and all this power, we can set up something 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30, we can set up things that take a long time to evolve, and grow. And so it's like, as we in this moment strive to understand, why the whole country think that conspiracy theory means lie, we equate that thought with a lie, when a conspiracy is just a couple people got together and thought about something, They conspired together to do something. That's it, It's like, well, when we strive to understand how they've manipulated our mind, when we start to say, we could just ask a few simple little questions, was this person a part of this, under this person, and did they do this? And it's like, and you see a reality TV show on the network news, and it's not a conspiracy, it's the truth of history. But we've been molded into thinking that some of the most silliest people on the planet were the greatest presidents that ever lived, and their economic system it overtook communism. And it's like, man, look, that's a joke, And so when we strive in this moment to combat those powers that be who left a power trail, like people leave a paper trail, you leave a paper trail behind yourself, Well, they left a power trail behind themselves. You can see them keep popping up in history. It's like, whoa, hey, there's their name again. There's their name again. There's their name again. There's their name again. There's their son's name. You see what I'm saying? It's like we have to learn how to read the signs and read the power trail that they've left in order to see what direction they're going to try to take us in the future. Because like somebody just said, COINTELPRO, that's one program. It ain't like that was the only program, It's like you're dealing with the most powerful intelligence community on the planet, People who go to other countries and disrupt it's like, I'm sure that they had at least two. You dig what I'm saying? It's like they had at least two. And maybe they had 15 or 20 or 30, Who knows, But in this moment, as we strive to come to grips with what they're doing now, because what they did then is a joke compared to what power they got now, what that Snow dude was talking about, that's real talk. I just looked at a little bit of it, and it was like, they have that capability. And then with the Supreme Court making these decisions like, what travels through the air, anybody can snatch it out. You have no reasonable expectation of privacy. You over the internet, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy. These things, and then along with the Patriot Act and these laws that they've created where it's like, well, hey, if I think you're a terrorist, hey, I can do this to you. And it's like, it's on a whole nother level now. So at this moment in time, in my humble opinion, it's like we have to move very deliberately. We have to understand what this moment is before we start picking fights sometimes, Because I wanted to come in and whoa, and then I thought about it. It's like, patience, you got time. You put it out there before, but, right now, let's see what happens. Let's develop our strength first before we start taking on this situation at this moment in time, because they, like you said, like when I spoke to, the Honorable, I spoke to, a certain, historical figure once, and she said, I was telling her, I was like, I've been having all this weird stuff happen with my computer and with my phone. It's like, and she said, welcome to my world. And I just stopped like, wow, you're right. I didn't even think about it. And then I was like, it's an honor to be in your world. I thank you for welcoming in. You right. Yeah, welcome to your world. But on the real, it's like, it ain't no joke right now, and we're learning in this moment. We just learning how to recognize how, they got the people on Facebook or the people who get in the little groups and they want to be your friend all of a sudden. They want to be your friend, and when you go to look at their friend list or the mutual friends, well, they got 3 of your high school buddies, 1 of your college friends, and then some dude from the revolution over here.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, or you go to one of these real good, one of these decent sites, where young black people are getting together, or young people are getting together, and they're really discussing issues of the day. And then all of a sudden you see a post that's talking about, well, just something silly like, well, let's talk about how the white guy took the black girl. And then it's like, wow, well, what website did that come from? And it turns out to be some right-wing leaning kind of, and then it's like we're just learning how to walk these 21st century virtual streets as far as revolutions go, But I believe because of the freeing of political prisoners and things like that that's going on, because their time is up, and they're being set free, what they've done unknowingly is created a time capsule where these people are bringing a real spirit of revolution, you dig, to the future, to the present, you see? And as they bring that real spirit, it's up to this generation, to these young people, to pick up that baton and be hip, be up on the, understand the laws and you can't be putting me smoking weed on the picture, and you got to understand that stuff now, because it's going to be real serious, and the data mining, the technologies that they have are so powerful, that they can do a lot more than they could in 1960, humbly. And I'm get back to COINTEL real quick. It's like, at this moment, I'm sure that they got people sitting in a room somewhere, just looking at the computer. That's all they do all day. They don't have to go to the court and get Your Honor, I need what did they use, phone tap. I need a phone tap warrant or whatever, to tap their phone. They don't have to do all that. I just get on Facebook. Well, I'll be a friend of one of their friends. All righty, there we go. I mean, it's not hard to believe that they got, that kind of potential in programs where they sit there and put a little thing in there and it says, okay, well, here's an imaginary friend list for you. And here's, we have to, this younger generation, in my humble opinion, they have to recognize that. And they also have to watch their mouths. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I had somebody say something about me today, and I'm not trying to get personal with it, but it's just that I think that this is very important, You don't go accusing people of stuff in this day and age, especially hooking them into intelligence. And you don't do that kind of stuff right now. Stuff is too serious, you know what I'm saying? And it's like we have to understand among ourselves as we strive to overcome this situation, how we going to relate to one another and how we going to deal with the technology. And it's the young people that have to deal with the technological side of it, because my mind is, I can break it down on the historical and the this and the that and how they did this but I need a young mind to come with something today that understands all these little acronyms and the little laughing my butts off and all the little the moment in time that we in with the Instagram, and I need somebody like that to team up with my mind, or I'm saying with the elders' mind, and make that connection so that they can see clearly in the moment. But with that being said, before I go too far, I'm sure that right now there are a lot more programs than COINTELPRO, and we need to be careful of how we discuss them, and we need to be careful on how we do things in this virtual reality. With that being said, peace and blessings, love, service.
Peace and blessings, most definitely. You hit that on the head. There's a lot more of them. Well, there's a lot more of them, of those programs. And that's there. And we're going to go to Brother Orlando, and I want you to share on what Brother C, just extended on when we talk about, like COINTELPRO, and there are being many other programs, we're umbrella, you know what I'm saying, all the same that, that out here doing these. Brother C, you made some great points, brother, for real. And Brother Orlando, share with us, you on COINTELPRO, conspiracy theorists,
labeled as. Your thoughts, brother?
Oh man, see now when you said you was gonna talk about COINTELPRO right there, man, that made like Little Richard said, made my big toe jump up in my boot. For real. Cause see that's what I love. See that's my thing, man. I look like I'm even though I'm a young man, I'm 33 years old. You know what I'm saying? But I know I talk like an old hip dude. But hey, it is what it is. That's just how I am. That's just me, man. You know what I'm saying? I was born in '81. I got the spirit of '81. That's how they talked in '81. You understand me? You dig? That's how they still rap. So that's how I get down. I ain't worried about all that other stuff. I ain't trying to be like everybody else. I'm being like me. But anyway, for real, man, COINTELPRO is a very serious thing. And when you really break it all the way down, even though it was a program that was so-called advanced in the 60s, but to be real, to break it down all the way to the humble beginnings of where COINTELPRO and how it really actually started and where the idea of it came from was actually the Marcus Garvey movement with the UNIA. You see what I'm saying? And that was around that time. That's when J. Edgar Hoover was just
looking for the Black Messiah.
He was just appointed director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which was a new cabinet. You see what I'm saying? That was created out of the Justice Department. You know what I'm saying? The U.S. Treasury. But anyway, aside from trying to chase bootleggers and things like that, Marcus Garvey had a movement out there. And the movement that he had going on, he was bringing black folks together. And it was also quoted that J. Edgar Hoover was quoted saying that the most dangerous threat to national security as far as America was the organization of Negroes. And who was that one that actually was putting together that organization of Negroes that was teaching self-love, self-help, self-discipline? Buy black, be black, spend black, take care of black. You know what I'm saying? And don't be scared when you know what I'm saying. When the sheets come in, or when the badges come in, don't be scared. Stand up for yours, defend yours. You know what I'm saying? He taught us he gave us a sense of history and self-confidence and things like that. And see, J. Edgar Hoover, when he seen that and he seen how Marcus Garvey was affecting people, not just in New York and not just in the big cities, but all the way down south. You see what I'm saying? In Florida, in Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? In Birmingham, you see what I'm saying? Mississippi, you know what I'm saying? Places where they really didn't want people to follow Marcus Garvey at. You see what I'm saying? They was following him. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And when they was following him, he was teaching them to have a self-confidence, a self-pride. When you was a Garveyite, you had a uniform you put on. It was soldier attire for males and females, and you looked good when you came down there, and when they seen you in your uniform and things like that. Well, that gave old J. Edgar Hoover and them a scare, because they made them feel like, well, if they feel like that, then they can uprise. You see what I'm saying? So what he did was what the first steps of what COINTELPRO was. He had to find somebody, the planning and forming in there, so he could disrupt that thing, disrupt that organization. You know what I'm saying? Stage riots and all that type of things like that. Misplaced money, misplaced funds, and all kinds of things to cause up disruption so they can bring up charges on Marcus Garvey. And it worked. Marcus Garvey was the first to ever, you see what I'm saying? He was the first to ever, I'm going to say he was the prototype to what COINTELPRO became in, you know what I'm saying, in the 50s and in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Because they wanted to stop the rise of a black messiah. You see what I'm saying? It's there. You see what I'm saying? But the thing is, a lot of people think that it didn't exist, it don't exist, and all that. But it still exists now to this day. And you can, and just if you sit back and you take about the incident that was going on in New York, you see what I'm saying? The incident that's going on in Ferguson and things like that. Okay, if you know COINTELPRO and you study COINTELPRO, okay, when they gave that verdict of not guilty for Mike Brown. Now, if you know COINTELPRO, you know what I'm saying, you're going to already pay attention to the signs, and you already know what's going to happen before it happens. You see what I'm saying? So when they rendered the verdict, I already knew it was going to be a not guilty verdict for the simple fact, as soon as the boy got killed, they sent armed troops in, and they never left. Okay? A week going into the verdict, they bring in more troops. Now, if they're going to do all that, why you going to do all that if you fear that, you know what I'm saying, if it's going to be a disruption among the people, right or wrong? Okay, if people notice when they watch the not guilty verdict being read, I don't know if I was the only one that paid it any attention, but I know other folks paid attention once I said something about it. But the minute they hollered not guilty, before guilt came out, not T, but guilt, you hear boom, bam, blam. Before the word is even finished off, you know what I'm saying? And one thing about COINTELPRO, what they did was incite riots. They would plant, you know what I'm saying? They would plant people to disrupt, you know what I'm saying, marches and things like that, to aggravate the police and things like that, just so they can give them a reason to come in and bust some heads. But, you know, when I try to tell them, man, COINTELPRO still exists, they think, oh, no, man, you know, whoop the whoop, wop the wop, ma, you just crazy, until they actually start paying attention to things like that. That's just like even with the incident with the 2 police officers in New York. You see what I'm saying? People call me a conspiracy theorist about this. But one thing I know is truth, and one thing I know is fact. Now, for the fellow who supposedly killed them 2 police officers and turned the gun on himself, okay, he was on Instagram posting, right? Posting threats of him going to take the lives of some police officers. Okay. Now, any one of us know anything about social media and pay attention to what's going on in social media. Before that even happened, it was a brother that was on Facebook and on Twitter threatening to go to war with the police, and the social media alerted, you know what I'm saying, the local authorities. They came and scooped him up. So, okay, he on Instagram posting all these photos and posting all this stuff on his phone. You don't think that would alert it authorities already for them to come snatch him up before he was able to? I mean, that's just, I mean.
You know, they claim that they knew about it. They claim they knew about it and literally had the nerve to say that it had been relayed to the NYPD. However, those 2 officers had yet to receive the message. You know, and it's like, that is, you ask me, it's like something they didn't take, you know, serious in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So if you put out there that you got this information and it just hadn't gotten around yet, you know what I'm saying? That's a lame excuse. I mean, isn't that like one radio go out to like everybody or something, or were they just, you know, was it something they were just sharing internally? You know what I'm saying? And that's a lot. One of the things I question, you know, in that incident in itself is the brother running into the subway and committing suicide when the police chased him into the subway. Then we all know. They ain't finna give you a chance to kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? Nope. You know, it's not going to happen. You don't have no statements from any of them, but there's nobody that's down there or whatever. No. And I mean, and we have to also think conspiracy theories, like bing, 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 bing. Every time we get one, y'all say bing, bing, bing when you throw one out there. What over there, in the light of that, I mean, because they have, and being collateral damage, and that brother could have been, you know what I'm saying? They will set up their own shit and set up their own people.
Yeah.
And that will happen. You know, that will happen in a heartbeat just to set something off, just to get it cracking. You understand what I'm saying? Just to get it cracking, to get it moving, to kick something off, to give them a reason to act the way they're acting and doing the things, you know, to even go more brutal and use this as an excuse to do so. Because immediately you saw all these cities around the country now, police on high alert, woo after them, you know what I'm saying, and being dispatched in certain different types of ways. That's just stepping up the game to give them more reasons, and I'm trying to say my reasons just for them to just keep on doing what they're doing, but to justify to those who still sitting out here thinking and believing that our brothers and sisters are deserving these things that are happening to them, that people are deserving to be beaten and murdered, you know what I'm saying, by the pigs. You know what I'm saying? They do that. They set up their own stage for their own chaos and their own bullshit. You know what I'm saying? They set this up.
I'm going to tell you something. One thing about me, like I said, about us studying COINTELPRO, and one thing about us knowing how they will use people by giving them psychological medicine, programming them to go and commit suicide missions or ritual killings, because think about that. That was a ritual killing. Anybody and they go try to say that he was frustrated at the police for killing Eric Garner or whatever. But the thing about it, now if this is gonna be a revenge killing and you gonna go kill some police officers, why you gonna kill an Asian and a Latino? I mean, I'm just being honest.
No, you hit it right. There you go. There you go.
I'm just being honest. And that's just like, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, okay, born and raised. These cats down here is not scared of the police. I promise you that. These cats down here will kill the police. If they tell the police, hey, man, if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to come to you, they mean it down here. You see what I'm saying? And it was a time I was working as a janitor at a hospital. This was like in 2005, 2006, and these pigs were dirty. They were dirty, certified dirty, straight up. They got killed by a dude that they was going around shaking down. The dude had told him, he said, man, because I knew the dude. You know what I'm saying? We was from off the same side of town and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? We knew a couple of the same people and stuff like that and everything. But he had told them, man, if y'all don't leave me alone, after just paying y'all off, man, I'm going to do something to y'all. Well, they went and got one more officer who was just an innocent bystander, and, she got caught up in it, but she didn't die, but she got shot. But at the same time, they were two white officers shaking down the black dude, making them sell they dope and all this kind of stuff like that. Well, they're gonna say it's alleged, but if you from where I'm from and you know the area, you already know it's the truth. You see what I'm saying? You already know what time it is. Well, dude followed his word. When they came to his house, he shot him down with an AK-47. You see what I'm saying? And that was a revenge killing. When he killed them, that was a revenge killing. That wasn't no ritual killing. He ain't turned a gun on himself. None of that. When he killed the ones we said he was gonna do something to. You know what I'm saying? They just happened to be two white officers, but they was the two white officers that had been harassing him. And when they asked him on the news, why did he shoot the officer? He said, I got tired of harassing me and bullying me. I got tired of, you know what I'm saying, shaking me down and taking my money from me. So, with that whole ordeal, man, and me knowing and seeing and experiencing, and for that stuff to have him up there, first he on Instagram posting, talking about he finna go do something to the police, and they don't snatch him up off the street. Okay, if you look in the pictures, Instagram, dude ain't have no shoestrings in his shoes, but when they pulling out the bite out the subway, dude had shoestrings in his shoes. And then his alleged girlfriend that he shot, the picture they showing of her, she in military uniform, just like he in some military clothes too. You see what I'm saying?
None of that being mentioned.
Ain't none of it being mentioned. But see, with truth seekers, or what they call conspiracy theorists, you see what I'm saying? We notice all this type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? We notice all this type of stuff.
I want to go in, brother. I want to ask Brother Rob to come in and share with us on that. And, conspiracy theories, especially when it concerns, as you put it, brother, said book. And, and a lot of people don't really believe in that and how our young people are pretty much just being tricked.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's I call it fair book because it is exactly what it is. It is it's a take-home dossier, and instead of the federal agency having to fill everything out, you fill it out yourself, and you're proud of showing everything pretty much because we have fallen into vanity world, and this is what fair book is vanity world. If you look at all of these social networks, it's about vanity. It's about how many times can I post a picture up, look at what I'm doing, look at what I'm eating, look at what I'm wearing, look at what I'm driving. Me. So what the social network is actually doing is creating a generation of sociopaths, and you wonder why people are able to go and just without reason kill people now, because we are gaining a sociopathic type of nature, apathy. We don't have any feelings anymore. We are literally becoming computers or robots or androids, human androids that don't have feelings. You know what I'm saying? We don't even look to make love anymore. You know what I'm saying? We just want to hit it and quit it.
Wow.
So all type of emotions have been nullified through social media. We walk around all day. Nobody talks to each other anymore. You go to people in clubs and they in their phone. How you in the club and you on your phone? You can be sitting right next to four people in the house and all of them got cell phones. Nobody talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trapped between our thumbs. And what I would say with the conspiracy situation, to me there is no conspiracy. There's only the CIA. You know what I'm saying? So if you think something, then it's possibly, more than likely, it's happening. If you want to really know what's happening, watch The Simpsons. Watch Family Guy. Watch the cartoons, and the cartoons will tell you everything that's going on, but then when you start taking cartoons serious, somebody will tell you that, man, it's only a cartoon, why are you taking it serious? So they build up situations to shut your thought process down or your rebuttal to seeing something, and they will put it right in front of your face. Even with this dude in New York, man. Okay, now if this dude was really going on some type of revenge plot, why not just shoot two cops in Maryland? Why ride all the way from Maryland to New York, where they are already having terroristic training? Now, where these police officers were shot, they were having terrorist training exercises going on right then at that time. What are the chances of this dude not being from Brooklyn, knowing to get there in time for them to be doing those terroristic training jobs? If you listen to what is going on, or if you're paying attention, I put a post up back in 2009. Back in 2009, they had a young Nigerian black youth that they claimed was trying to blow up a plane. Now, this dude was a genius. If you did your research on him, he was at the top of his class in damn near everything, math and everything. They put his face on TV saying that he was trying to blow up a plane. Now, this is like right around the time that Bin Laden had fallen off the picture or they had killed him. Can't remember around the time. But it struck me as, as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, is anybody paying attention to the new face of terrorism? Because it's not the Middle Eastern anymore. It's the black man.
Wow.
If you look at ISIS, when they show the pictures of the people in ISIS, they all black. They might not be American blacks, but their color is no different than me and your color. You know what I'm saying? When they said that this dude, let's check out how one more thing. Do you remember the case with the light-skinned, blue-eyed felon that went all through social media and everybody was telling you how handsome he was?
Yeah.
Oh, look at him, boom, boom, bap, and everybody was all to see. What they do is they will tell you what's going on, but you have to sift through the bullshit. Okay, so now everybody's so attracted to this dude, pretty eyes and all that, because he looked damn near white, but he got black features. But nobody tripped on what his charges were. This man's charges was street terrorism. I've never heard of those charges before. But his charge was street terrorism. He was a part of a gang. He got caught with some guns, and he had a $900,000 bond. Nobody talked about that. And it was right up under his mugshot what his charges were, street terrorism. Okay, now let's go back. Let's fast forward to this young man, Ishmael. This is hit all birds with one stone. Okay, first off, I'm going to break it all the way down to you. You can call it a conspiracy theory. To me, it's just facts. Okay, first off, his name is Ishmael. So they are connecting black men with Islam right there. That's one organization that they have beef with, okay? Not only did they connect him to Islam, they connected him to the Crips, and they also connected him to the Black Guerrilla family. Now, when is the last time you've heard something about the Black Guerrilla family when it wasn't tied to George Jackson? You know what I'm saying? Not to say that the Black Guerrilla family is not active in what they're doing in the prison industry, but you don't hear about nobody claiming no Black Guerrilla family. You know what I'm saying? So now you got this black man who is tied to street organizations, which will be classified as domestic terrorists within probably the next 6 months. And that's why they're letting Chicago go ape right now. They're not even trying to do nothing to those youth down there because all of those young men will be classified as domestic terrorists. Okay, now, back to this dude in New York. If you ever notice, anytime they want to do anything about terrorism, they use New York as the backdrop. They did it in 2001 when they crashed the plane into the building. Next thing you know, we got no more Constitution. We got the Patriot Act. So this dude comes around, and you ask about why did he shoot a Latino and a Asian. Well, let's break down the demographic of New York if you do not have money. The lower class of New York is black, Asian, and Latino. Now, when they had that march on the police, that million march in New York, there were black, Asian, and Latino all together unified. Okay, so now what you got to ask yourself is when this guy murders a Latino and an Asian, what does that do to their community as they look at us? It separates us from them. They are now that those two communities are looking at black men like, yeah, they deserve everything they get. Kill them. They are the problem, and if we get rid of them, then we won't have a problem. So now you got big, large black men who have been set up as the new, well, I won't say the new terrorists. We always been the terrorists since they brought it, since they gave us the term nigger. You know what I'm saying? And I don't remember a time when police were not stepped up in the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like it's extra police in the ghetto. It's always been extra police in the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Here is, they now have the catalyst of basically pinpointing a people and putting an imagery on them of worthlessness, which is us. Okay, now, you got to remember, the last time somebody did that, that person was named Adolf Hitler, and those people were called the Jews. And what he did in the beginning was use propaganda to start basically dehumanizing Jews. Just like they dehumanize us, they've used our culture to dehumanize young black men. You got young black men walking around the streets screaming out to the top of their lungs how many people they're killed because they listening to their favorite rapper. So now look at what they did with hip-hop. It's going to always go back to hip-hop with me because that is our history, that is our culture, that is what they are afraid of. Like I said, it took 2,000 years for Christianity to move people and shake people in the world. It took hip-hop 40. Okay, so that lets you know if you don't mess with us, what we are capable of doing. So they took hip-hop, 1989. Public Enemy is at the top of their game. This group changed my life. Okay, they're at the top of their game. I'm because of them, I know that Egypt is in Africa, which I knew before I wasn't that illiterate, but because of them, I knew that the Egyptians were black because they made me want to read. Okay, now, when you have Public Enemy making a video called Fight the Power, and you got like 15,000 people in Brooklyn, 15,000 African Americans in Brooklyn, and there's no violence, and everybody screaming fight the power, that is a problem. Okay, so what happens with that? The first thing they do is they dismantle Public Enemy by basically ousting Professor Griff. Now, once they ousted Professor Griff, Public Enemy lost all its sauce because everybody was like, well, how come y'all ain't have Griff back? Why would y'all let them tear y'all group apart like that? So right around that time, Public Enemy started falling off. Who sets on the scene? NWA. So here you go. You got a group called, and no knock to NWA, because when NWA first came out, they were the Black Panthers of rap. They fucked the police, Mr. Dope Man. You know, they came from a street perspective of politics, street politics, on what they called street knowledge. Remember, it wasn't gangster rap. COINTELPRO and the CIA called it gangster rap after, I believe it was the episode with he created Cop Killer, and they relabeled gangster. I mean, they relabeled street knowledge gangster rap. So then they take NWA. I mean, they take Public Enemy out of the frame. NWA is the new guys on the block. Ice Cube falls out with NWA. What's the first thing he does? He runs to New York and gets with the Bomb Squad and creates America's Most Wanted. Okay, so Cube is still going with the political game. As far as NWA, what is the second album they made after 100 Miles and Running? Niggas for Life. They only made one album because Cube came back with No Vaseline and killed NWA. But that album set the precedent of 30 years of gangster rap. We've been niggas for life for 30 years. And now that they have created, now, mind you, 30 years, and let's put ourselves in the shoes of white people. Okay, you got 30 years of young black men walking around talking about how much they'll kill something, how they don't regard no type of life, and how they got guns everywhere, and how they'll do this, that, and the third. So now you understand why we have laws called Stand Your Ground. Because at one point, the music is putting fear in white people, but it is also basically possessing our youngsters to believe in this imagery that thugging and the dumber you are, the smarter you are, and drugs and everything is what you are supposed to be doing. So 30 years later, it is they have track records now. They got a 30-year track record of black men acting out, and now they can point the finger and be like, "Do we need these people?" Now let's not forget that within those 30 years, what the gangster rap had also produced was homeless, broken homes, because everybody started selling dope, and cats was catching 20 years. Going and having these babies not being brought up by you. Got 3 generations of that, and also the biggest wave of generation of felons. Okay, we have 3 generations of felons, black men that cannot get jobs for the simple fact that they were out trying to make some money. They were not there killing nobody, this, that, and the third. They sold a rock, got caught. Now you're a felon for life. Now you can't get a job. You don't have a skill. So what do you have to do? You have to keep perpetuating what created the felons. Now you have Obama screaming that he is going to let, and this is no disrespect to my indigenous brothers and sisters who were already here what we got here, but you got 5 million immigrants that they're going to let in to replace anybody like a black man that does not have a skill. Now, once you cannot get a job and you constantly going in and out of jail, you're not going to get back out of jail. So they've already created this whole vacuum to basically suck us out of existence. And if we don't get a handle on our culture and our imagery, okay, imagery is everything. Perception is everything. Rarely is it the truth. You know what I'm saying? Perception is everything, but rarely is it the truth. And if we don't get in charge of our imagery, one of the reasons why they're attacking Bill Cosby, because Bill Cosby single-handedly changed the whole face of how the world looked at black men and black families. He created the whole positive going to college. If it wasn't for Bill Cosby, most people would not know about HBCUs. We remember when Bill was always wearing the HBCU on the biggest show in TV land. Now, this brother created an educational system that changed our whole look, and they created the gangster rap to diffuse that. And you wonder why Bill was so angry and how he was, people like, he talking down on black folks. No, man, this is the man that created the positivity. Of course he going to have beef more than everybody else got it. This man, he first off, he is from an older generation that really just don't understand none of this mess we got going on. But if you are the man who created the reason, well, I would say one of the men who created the lane that made black men want to read books and go to college and be something of themselves, and then you see your whole body of work be destroyed, and not only destroyed, but be destroyed and applauded by the people that you were sent to help, you would have a problem too. You know what I'm saying? And on that Bill Cosby situation, what I noticed is Bill Cosby, to me, seemed like he was the candy man. Wasn't that he was raping these women? Bill Cosby had the drugs because every one of these cases, they said Bill pulled out the pill. So they knew that Bill had the candy. Yeah, but Bill had the candy. You know what I'm saying? That would probably be the only thing that he is guilty of. But the fact that they used rape, let's understand this. The fact that they used the jacket rape, there are two jackets that they will put on you at every time and to diminish your character and diminish your self-worth. The first one they're going to put on you is rape. Why do they choose rape? Because once women hear rape, they ain't got nothing to do with you no more. And if you don't have women backing you, you don't have a backbone. That's why they put Tupac. They put the rape charge on Tupac because they thought that the women were going to abandon him. They knew Tupac was better than that, so that didn't happen. They put rape on Michael Jackson. They put not rape, but molestation on Michael Jackson. They put rape on Mike Tyson. Think of all these people that we looked up to that caught these rape jackets. Now, once rape don't work, the next thing they put on you is crazy. Okay? So once somebody labels you crazy, you can be giving somebody the answer to cancer, then you're going to hear somebody say, yeah, you know that nigga crazy, right? So whatever I told you went right out of the ear. It went right out of your ear because somebody just came up to you and be like, you know that nigga crazy, right? So we got to understand how they have basically sat back and allowed us, they paid us to play ourselves. They paid us to play ourselves, and they didn't just pay us. They paid the young black men that never had nothing in their life. And how you going to turn down $10,000, $15,000, $1 million when you was just eating ramen noodles for all of last year? And here comes somebody telling you, like, well, partner, I'll tell you what. If you just rap about what you do, I'll give you $100,000 right now. Who ain't going to jump on that? Who's not going to jump on that? So again, we have to get back in control of our imagery. You had Jay Prince. You had it was Jay Prince. What's your boy name? Irv Gotti, Suge Knight, and Dame Dash. They were secretly in cahoots, and I would say they were conspiring to create their own record distribution company, and all of them had the money to do it. Don't you know the feds put cases on all them cats, and you see what happened to them? Where's Suge Knight now? Where's Murder Inc. now? Where's Jay Prince now? Where's Dame Dash now? They put cases and destroyed all of these men.
Well, people don't know.
Understand the distribution is everything. Why do you think Tupac was murdered? Do you understand what would have happened to the whole record industry as far as gangster rap goes if Pac was able to open up his own label? Who was going to go sign to Interscope? Who was going to go sign to anybody? Pac would have destroyed. And I there's a certain guy up at Interscope that is the king or godfather of gangster rap. He's the white guy that Dr. Dre works for. Nobody, if you want to look at it, yes, sir. Now look at the paper trail of gangster rap and Jimmy Iovine. You go look at the paper trail of gangster rap and see who has single-handedly controlled this genre of music for the last 25 years. One man. You don't have any. Tupac never put a record out in his life. You understand me? Lil Wayne never put a record out in his life. You understand me? Drake never put a record out in his life. Do you understand me? Interscope put that record out. Universal Music Group puts out records. People say black people have an affinity with gangster rap. No, the industry has an affinity with gangster rap because we don't have the power to put records out. Tupac never sold one record. Interscope sold those records, but they'll have a black, they'll tell you, well, you sold millions of albums. Well, damn, where all the money at? You haven't sold anything. Your record label sells your albums, and they give you a piece of a piece of a piece. And then what they'll do is the only way you're able to make money is go on tour. But then you can't get any insurance for a gangster rap tour, so it leaves the artist dead broke. Let's look at, and I'm not trying to just drag out, but even with Bobby Shmurda, how isn't Sony responsible for what happened to this young man? You think Sony didn't know that this young man was still selling drugs? This man raps about selling drugs. How is it that the industry can basically make movies and make videos that basically support the delinquency of minors, supports drug addiction or drug abuse towards minors? How are they never responsible? How are these radio stations how are these DJs? Why we ain't up at these radio stations that pump this nonsense 24 hours a day waiting for that DJ to come out and really give this man a real piece of understanding? Like, what are you doing? These are the people we need to be attacking. We can't attack the rapper. He's a soldier. We didn't, you got this just like Germany. Those soldiers was just doing their job. That's why most of them got off. So we got to stop looking at the rapper and pointing our finger and turning our nose up at these rappers when all they doing is trying to eat. Why aren't we looking at that record label or that record exec that has the true power of putting this music out and making these millions of dollars? Because you got to ask yourself now, how does the record industry make money when nobody buys CDs no more, nobody buys records anymore, everything is wave file? So how do they make money when nobody buys this shit anymore? They make money off advertisement and using these young men as props for material goods. And that is my thing on. There is no such thing as a conspiracy. There's just the CIA, and either you know enough or you don't know. And sometimes it is not wise to constantly try to wake people up. Have you ever woken somebody up when they were asleep and you wake them up and they pissed off? You know, they don't want to hear nothing you got to say. All they know is they were sleeping good and you came in here and woke them. I don't want to hear that shit. So we got to be careful.
You just woke me up.
We always trying to wake our people up. Yo, man, it's been time that if you not woke up, then, hey, man, you done missed the bus. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a firm believer that they're woke. It just scared. See,
exactly.
This night. This is a nightmare. You are not sleeping through this nightmare. And I hate to cut you off, but I want to, before we get out of it, I want to go to speaking from a young people's perspective, the music and everything else. And I want to go to line to Brother Flame and then to Brother Ramon. And Brother Flame, I want you to address, like, with young folks, and you out here in the street, and you're a young man yourself, you know what I'm saying, and flipping with the brothers, you know what I'm saying, going into development. How do you see that? And how do, from your generation, that are mainly ones that kind of look at the older generations, you know what I'm saying, and things that we putting out here, you know what I'm saying? Are you guys looking at it more as all those conspiracy theories? That's just crap, y'all, in yourself and all. How y'all looking at it, little brother? Come on in. And thank you for hanging in there.
Peace and blessings. I had to hang in on a topic like this. I agree with everything that brother just now said. Everything that he just said, I pretty much had the same thing to say. Because to start my story off, I had to take it back to COINTELPRO since we spoke on that for a minute. And I think it was some college students, some freedom fighters or something like that. I don't know the correct name, but they stole that information out from the FBI. So if they wouldn't have stole that information, we wouldn't have known about it. So that's not no conspiracy theory. Those are real actual facts that people took from them. I ain't even going to go into religion because I know I make some people mad about Jesus because I love Jesus. But as far as coming up, listening to hip-hop and an undeveloped mind, my untrained mind was telling me exactly what the brother said is trap or die. You know what I mean? It's a mental recession. The Twin Towers done got hit. Ain't no jobs out here for you. The jobs that stereotyping you, the jobs that will take you paying your slave wages, and you the one running the company for somebody that's at home sleep. So, you know, you automatically thinking like, man, if this, I ain't about to be doing this when you got young young people on the radio like the Migos or like Chief Keef, and he can't even rap. But what is he saying? He's saying, I sell drugs and I do this and I do that. And look, I made it. It's glorious. To an undeveloped mind, that is fascinating. It's the solution to the problems, because when reality sits in, you're not accepted. And and a lot of people don't have a solution to that problem of being stereotyped and not accepted and being able to become financially stable without doing something wrong, because the only thing that's acceptable for us to do out here is wrong. And doing wrong comes with the girls, and that's always fun. You know, it comes with the respect on the streets. In a way, I don't respect the street credibility no more, because street credibility won't get you nowhere. But that was something that I had to experience and learn for myself. You know, I could sit back and I could tell a youth, because I'm 26, and so a youth to me is like 17 or 18, not that far from me anyway. I could tell them like what I went through, and they can take heed to it. But when I was a youth, I didn't have people like me around here saying that. I had the older people telling me, and I was like, I don't want to listen to you. You can't connect with me. You don't understand what I'm going through right about now. So you can't tell me about anything. That's how I used to think. One thing I know, and I don't want to get on religion too much, but I know that the devil do attach the youth, because the youth are the most vulnerable. They soak up information like a sponge, and they have undeveloped minds. So just like on the show on Teen Talk Tuesdays, I pulled out the book Know Thyself by Naheem Akbar, is that some dogs are trained and some dogs are educated. So what we're experiencing right now is our youth being trained to be something that society wants us to be. And everybody just pretty much just put it all the way out there. So we really know what the business is. And like one of the brothers said, my brother Orlando Magic said that how in the world is we calling this conspiracy when we can see the facts of the Willie Lynch letters in effect today in our lives, you know. So coming from a youth point of view, what we all can do as youth is be those soldiers that's going to stand up and take control. Like on the show last week, we spoke about taking control, not depending on other people to do for us what we can do for ourselves. And what I can't do by myself, I can do with someone else. That's the beauty about being with growth and development, because I am my brother's keeper. So anytime I can reach my hand all the way out to California if I wanted to, but I don't have to, because I have people right here in Greensboro, North Carolina, that's going to make sure anything that we have to do for this community is going to get done. Once everybody realizes that, like, oh, we got full control over the course of our history just by the initiative that we took. We have full control of that, of what happens to the people after us, because it's about what we're doing right here today, right now. Not saying that didn't nobody else do this before us, but it's like birth pains. It's a growing process. We as youth, we take every righteous endeavor that the older generation did before us as a learning experience. What they do, why did they get killed? Okay, they got killed because of this reason. So we gonna have to kind of go at it in another angle. You know what I mean? We gonna have to somehow follow this law without depending on the law to protect us, and not depending on the government to provide for us, not depending on the schools to teach our kids. That's what we're going to have to do, because they're not going to give them what we're going to give them. Okay, so how we going to do that? Now we got to start our own production companies. We got to start putting out our own music. We got to start supporting black business. All this stuff is being talked about, but now we need to manifest it. We need to do it, because we are our own controllers. If everybody's on one accord, then we have full control over our destiny. Don't nobody else have to. They're going to come and try to fight riots and destroy everything that we got going on, but that's what we need to start preparing ourselves for.
and not let them do it.
And
that's God manifested.
And I would like to add one more thing. You know, you got a lot of people out here. You know, you got a lot of angry people out here, and they talking about, yeah, we ready for war. You know what I'm saying? You ready for war with a box of bullets? You know what I'm saying? You can't go to war with this beast with a box of bullets. You know what I'm saying? You can't beat them at what they do. That's what they do. They destroy. And their whole job right now is we are the creators of everything, okay? You got builders and destroyers. We are the builders of everything. And what they're attempting to do is change our whole dynamic. They want us to stop thinking that we're creators and give us the title as destroyers. And black people on the whole, we got too much love for everything to be this destroyer. But we are slowly buying in to the game. Because like I say, the music, our music is everything to us. Okay, it's everything to us. So if the music is wrong, then we doing wrong. When the music is right, we doing right. These white people, they know about the vibrational pull that we have with the connection to melanin and universe. So, again, once we get our vibrations right and point, once we start thinking again that, okay, we have to outsmart the beast. We can't go hand and toe-to-toe with them. They got too many prisons for that. They got too many bullets for that. We got to get back into intellect. And it ain't nothing to outsmart us. What do you think they created the computer for? They created the computer to keep up with us. You understand that? The computer technology was created to put us on freeze mode. Okay, technology is the very embodiment of a lie. You know, you got everybody got TVs and flat screens, and people think they got success. That's not success. Everything that lights up with a Bluetooth, that's our vision of success. We got flat screens. I got flat screens. I got the i10. I got the i7 phone. You know what I'm saying? All of this shit is really put in place to keep us from connecting into our other four senses that don't nobody talk about, but every superhero has. And this is how we were able to build the pyramids, because we had senses like telekinesis, we had telepathy, we had clairvoyance, we had levitation. We were able to use all this when there wasn't telephone lines everywhere and all type of radioactive frequencies that we keep in our households every day. This is the reason why we are docile. When black people live out in the country, they are way more active. We call them slow, but they ain't forgot the roots. They don't go to hospitals. They go to their grandmama, and their grandmama go in the backyard.
Brother. Peace and blessings, brother. I hate to cut you off. I want to get and bring Brother Ramon in and let him share, because we'll definitely probably get cut off in the next few minutes. But I'm glad you brought that, and you stated those four senses. I like that. I want to talk about that. I want to definitely quickly, before we do and get before we end, I do want to come back next week and on next Saturday as well and discuss those four senses. So, Brother Rob, I'll be good with you, as well as you, Brother Charles, because I know you studied that heavily as well. And you just sparked an interest in me with that one, because some of that I didn't know. Somebody did talk to me. So, but I'm going to begin with that, because I knew I'm feeling a couple of them. But I need to know about that. Brother Ramon, thank you for holding on with us. Can you come on in and share with us, brother?
Yes,
tell us where you're calling from, brother. Come on in.
Well, I'm calling from West Palm Beach, Florida County. Well, I live in Boynton Beach, but I'm calling from Palm Beach County in Florida. Peace and blessing, everybody. I just been sitting here listening, and we're talking about how COINTELPRO, but we also talking about hip-hop and its influence and things of that nature. And I agree with everything that's been said on this panel. Now, I'm going to connect a couple of dots. Now, before Dr. Dre was actually a partner in Interscope Records, there was a financier that existed before him, and his last name was Fields. He was the financier, along with working with Jimmy Iovine. He was the silent partner. Now, Fields, I don't know if a lot of you understand what the name Fields in Chicago carries. Fields is actually a descendant of Marshall Fields and Company, which also own the Sun-Times and also also the Water Tower in Chicago. So they were old money. But one of the younger people in the Fields family went into entertainment. Okay, so he financed a lot of things. So Marshall Fields Company had. So that's just a little side note for y'all to understand. That's how deep this go with Interscope. Now, as far as when we're talking about the COINTELPRO, and the brother brought it up, but they also had other organization. It's called a Cobra organization. It's called a Cobra, a movement, and Cobra is they use Cobra in the same way as they used the COINTELPRO. Now it was a lot of other things that went on that killed a lot of people. Cobra was mostly kind of involved in mostly like the drug situation with the Contras and all this and all that. Now, I want people to understand the reason hip hop get attacked the way it did, because what it do, it unifies all walks of life. The main tenets when hip hop started, I don't know if y'all knew this or not, but the main tenets of what hip hop started, it was under peace, unity, love, and having fun.
That's right.
And that was used to bring together all different walks of life, all different gang members and things. You got talent. You could draw. All right, you gonna draw. If you got talent DJing, you could DJ. Oh, you could do that. And then you could rap. Okay, well, y'all go back and forth battling each other, playing the dozens over music. You understand what I'm saying? Then it led to more things. Now, sister, I don't want you to get offended, but I'm gonna tell you like this. Another reason why hip hop is the way it is, because these women don't check these guys. These women don't.
I
check
ain't getting
these
offended.
dudes.
Truth is truth.
No, I say it because the reason they do it is they do it because they want the women, the hoes and the bitches, the money and the riches. That's why they make all these. Even Tupac, as much as I love the brother and his mom was a revolutionary, all this and all that, but it's not about being a revolutionary no more. We got to be a solutionary. We got to come up with solutions. And one of the solutions, as far as hip-hop, you ask any of these young people today, who is Africa Bambaataa, who's Kool Herc? Matter of fact, who was Pink House in Chicago? You ever heard of
that was my boy.
Who is Egyptian Lover out on the West Coast? Who
yes.
is Uncle Jam's Army? You see what I'm saying?
Can I say this real quick, bro? Can I say this real quick? Can I say this real quick for anybody who don't know? Isadora Pink House built hip-hop in the city of Chicago. Isadora Pink House was my first friend when I moved to Chicago. That's my boy, forever rest in peace. I left him always. You don't know about that brother right there? That's the man. That's the man. Rap House. Thank you for picking. There you go.
Well, see, I'm from the Windy City, so I have no pity in saying what I gotta say. But I say this because then you had the four elements of hip hop. You had b-boying, graffiti, MCing, and then you had b-boy, graffiti, MCing, and DJing. But there's the fifth element that brings it all together: the knowledge. Exactly. It was the knowledge. And see, if we're gonna build on teaching these people or these other people, these Johnny-come-latelys who want to come all out don't want to stay in the living room and won't go all through the house and, go all in the kitchen and everything like that. we're gonna have to sit them down and tell them, no, you stay in here. You read this while I get dinner ready. Don't be all up in my house like that. So the whole purpose of it is we have, if we don't know the history if we know the history of these cultures, if we know the history of the infiltration, it's up to us. We can't wait on nobody to teach it to them. Would you sit up home and wait for somebody to feed you?
And not at all. You said it with 1,000 words there, brother. It's up to us. And family, you heard that it's up to us. And I hate to cut you off, brother, but we got like 1 minute left before they cut us off. But it's been, man, I would definitely like, and we'll hit you too, Brother Ramon, and thank you so much for chiming in and family as well, Brother Ramon. Definitely part of the Pops Movement family. And thank you for chiming in, brother, and all the family for chiming in. And everyone else, I really want to hit you guys. I really would love to extend this conversation. We'll hit you up within a couple of days, brother. And because it's very important, we keep talking about it, and you guys actually extended it because you added a little bit more on the things. I want to cover things I don't know about. So most definitely, we're going to wrap up. We kind of wrap up that news jokes this week, family. But if you're not doing anything else, jump on over to Pops Movement Radio family. You can dial in 917-13955-0708 for Spiritual World Sunday with our sister Cece tonight. So family, because that's where I'm headed once I get up off this line.